Taras had just moved to New York for work. One sunny afternoon, while walking through Manhattan, he accidentally bumped into a girl carrying a coffee and a book. The coffee almost spilled, but he quickly caught it. "Sorry, I didn't see you," he said. The girl laughed. "It's okay. You actually saved my coffee. Thanks." That was how Taras met Olya. She had come from Ukraine to study design. They started talking right there on the street, realizing they both missed the same things from home: Ukrainian food, music, and long summer evenings. They soon began spending more time together. They went to a small Ukrainian cafe in Brooklyn, explored Central Park, rode the subway late at night, and shared dreams about the future. Even though life was busy, with Taras working long hours and Olya balancing school and part-time jobs, they learned to value small moments: a walk in the park, cooking together, or just sitting and talking. One snowy December night, Taras took Olya to Rockefeller Center. Under the glowing Christmas tree, he knelt down and asked, "Olya, meeting you was fate. Loving you is my choice. Will you marry me?" "Yes," she whispered through tears of joy. They got married in a small garden in New Jersey. Olya wore a white dress with a traditional embroidered belt, and Taras wore a suit with a vyshyvanka under it. Their families joined by video call from Ukraine, sharing their happiness. After their wedding, they started life together in a small Brooklyn apartment. Life wasn't perfect. There were arguments, financial struggles, and sleepless nights, but they cherished their time together. A few months later, Olya surprised Taras with a small box containing baby shoes. 9 months later, their daughter Christina was born. Holding her for the first time, Taras whispered, "You're our little miracle." When Christina was 3, the family moved back to Ukraine and bought a small house outside Lviv. Their life became full of warmth and simplicity. Evenings were spent on the porch, Taras showing Christina the stars, and Olya painting the sunset. Years passed. Christina grew up into a curious and creative girl. She painted like her mother, dreamed like her father, and spoke both English and Ukrainian fluently. When she turned 18, she went to university in Kiev to study architecture. There she met Andriy, a kind and hardworking student. Their friendship grew into love, and soon Taras and Olya were helping their daughter plan her wedding. The day Christina married Andriy was full of emotion: tears of joy, laughter, and heartfelt speeches. Taras walked his daughter down the aisle, remembering his own wedding years before. After the wedding, Christina and Andriy started a family, having their first child, Marco, followed by their daughter, Lilia. Taras and Olya embraced grandparenthood, finding joy in reading stories, playing games, and guiding the young family. Their house, once quiet after Christina's departure to Kiev, became lively again. As the years went by, Taras and Olya enjoyed watching Christina raise her own children. Marco and Lilia brought new energy and laughter into their home. Taras loved teaching them small things: how to ride a bike, how to identify constellations in the night sky, and how to solve problems patiently. Olya spent hours helping the children with drawing and crafts, sharing her love for art and creativity. Family holidays became especially meaningful. Everyone would gather at the house near Lviv, cooking traditional meals, sharing stories, and celebrating birthdays together. Taras and Olya often looked at each other and smiled, remembering how it all began: a chance meeting on a street in New York, a spilled coffee, and a conversation that changed their lives. Even as they grew older, they remained active and involved in the lives of their grandchildren. They attended school events, helped with homework, and shared wisdom about life, kindness, and perseverance. Their home was filled with warmth, laughter, and the feeling that family always comes first. Taras and Olya also continued to nurture their own relationship. They still took walks together, shared quiet evenings on the porch, and talked about their dreams and memories. They found joy in the simple moments: a cup of tea together, watching the sunset, or reminiscing about their early days in New York and Brooklyn. As they grew older, they decided to spend more time in the countryside. They bought a small house in a quiet village not far from Lviv, surrounded by fields, forests, and a gentle river. The move gave them peace and a slower pace of life, far from the noise and rush of the city. In the village, Taras and Olya's days were simple but full of meaning. Mornings were spent in the garden, planting vegetables and tending flowers. Taras enjoyed working with his hands, repairing fences, fixing tools, and sometimes building small wooden toys for Marco. Olya loved painting the landscapes around their house and teaching Lilia how to mix colors and capture the beauty of nature. The grandchildren visited often. Marco and Lilia ran through the fields, helped feed the chickens, and explored the nearby river while Olya told stories and painted alongside them. Each visit brought laughter, energy, and life into the quiet village home. The children learned to appreciate nature, creativity, and the small joys of everyday life, just as their grandparents had taught them. The village itself became an extended part of their family. Neighbors would stop by to share news, ask for advice, or simply enjoy a cup of tea together. Taras and Olya's wisdom, patience, and kindness were remembered by everyone, and their home became a symbol of love and community. Evenings were spent on the porch, watching the sun set over the fields. Taras and Olya often reflected on their life together. The chance meeting in New York, their wedding, raising Christina, and now seeing their grandchildren grow. They felt a quiet contentment, knowing they had built a life full of love and meaning. As time passed, Marco and Lilia grew into young adults. Marco became skilled in woodworking and engineering, combining the practical lessons Taras had taught him with his own ideas. Lilia pursued art, inspired by Olya's paintings, and continued to paint the landscapes and people around the village. The grandchildren started families of their own, and the house remained a gathering place for all. Marco taught his children to work with their hands, to be patient and thoughtful. Lilia encouraged her children to be creative, to notice beauty in everyday life, and to value family traditions. Through each generation, the values of Taras and Olya, love, patience, kindness, and devotion to family, continued to live on. The house by the river remained full of laughter, stories, and memories, a testament to the extraordinary life of two people who had started a legacy from a simple beginning. Even as the great-grandchildren grew and the world outside the village changed, the lessons of Taras and Olya were passed down. Children learned the importance of caring for others, embracing creativity, and cherishing every moment with loved ones. Every shared meal, every painting, every wooden toy built by small hands reminded them of the grandparents who had started it all. As the great-grandchildren began families of their own, the house remained alive with laughter, life, and traditions. The values of Taras and Olya were carried forward quietly but powerfully, shaping the lives of everyone in the family. Through every generation, the spirit of Taras and Olya continued to guide the family. The house by the river remained a sanctuary of love, art, and togetherness, a living reminder that a life built on care, patience, and devotion could inspire countless generations. By the 30th century, the world had become a place of boundless wonders. Humanity had settled on the moon, Mars, and distant stars. Cities floated in the skies, and great vessels carried people across galaxies. Technology changed everything, yet one thing remained unchanged: the story of Taras and Olya. No longer was it only a family memory. It had become part of global culture. Their love story was studied in schools alongside the works of Shakespeare and ancient myths. Plays were performed on orbital stations, virtual reality worlds recreated their small house by the river, and musicians across centuries composed symphonies inspired by Olya's paintings of sunsets. On Earth, the house by the river still stood. It had been rebuilt many times, restored after floods, storms, and wars. Eventually, it became a World Heritage Monument protected by all nations. Pilgrims traveled from every corner of Earth, and even from Mars and beyond, to walk through its doors, to touch the old bench, to see the gallery of Olya's paintings, and to hear the echoes of laughter from generations past. Their story also became a symbol for space explorers. On the first ship to travel beyond the solar system, astronauts carried a copy of The House by the River as part of the cultural archives of humanity. They wanted to bring with them not only science, but also the spirit of love that defined human existence. In the vast silence of space, far from home, they read the story of Taras and Olya and remembered what they were carrying into the stars. Centuries later, when humanity met other civilizations, the story was told as an example of who humans were. It was translated into alien languages, sung in their melodies, painted in their colors. And to their surprise, the aliens understood, For love, family, and legacy were not only human concepts, but universal truths. Thus, Taras and Olya's story became more than history. It became myth, a tale that transcended time, space, and species. A story told not only to children by the fire or on the porch by the river, but also to beings across the galaxy as proof that the smallest act of kindness can spark something eternal. Many centuries later, one of their distant descendants, a young girl named Sophia, stood in the old house by the river. The walls were covered with paintings, Olya's originals, and the works of later generations inspired by her. Wooden toys, carefully preserved, lined the shelves, each marked with Taras's initials. The house smelled faintly of old wood, flowers, and something timeless. Sophia had grown up hearing the story countless times, but now, as she prepared to leave for a mission to another galaxy, she felt it differently. She was chosen to be part of a group of explorers who would build the first human settlement beyond the Milky Way. The world celebrated her, but what mattered most was what she carried with her heart.